everyone, and welcome back to today's video. Today we are gonna talk about what to expect in the first month with a new baby, with a newborn baby. So this video, I'm gonna repeat a lot of things that I said in the previous video, the one when I talked about what to expect when you bring your baby home from the hospital. But I'm guessing that lots of people don't watch that, who might watch this one. So if it's a lot of repeat for you, if you've seen that video and it's just a lot of repeat, then I'm sorry, but I think it's just that there's a lot of information here that's new for the people who didn't see that video. My story is a little bit different since I knew my baby for 3 months before I brought her home from the hospital, but it is still the same, because age-wise she was, when I brought her home from the hospital, that was basically a week before her due date. So the first month that we spent together at home is basically the first month that you would spend together with your newborn baby as well, even if it's not a preterm baby. It's probably the hardest month on a new parent, because it is the month when you're trying to figure out what's happening, how to do things, what your baby wants when the baby cries, how to get your baby to sleep. And this video I'm trying to help you figure out how to deal, maybe how to deal with this newborn, with this new being in your home, and how to figure out what the needs are of the baby, what to do to try to soothe the baby, what kind of issues can you expect, etc, etc. The other thing is jaundice. Lots of babies get jaundice, and that's something that you can expect, and I'm not going to talk about it because we did go through it in the hospital right after she was born. She didn't get jaundice, but they were testing her blood and her levels were going up, and they were expecting that she would get it, so they put her under light therapy to prevent it. But it is something that I guess lots of babies go through, lots of newborn babies within the first week. I know I had it as well when I was a baby, so that's something that you might that might happen, and you can expect in the first, maybe in the first week or so. Also, the first couple of days the baby doesn't need much, newborn doesn't need much food. So you are obviously trying to breastfeed because you're trying to get your milk to come, and it's probably not gonna come in the first day. Maybe the next day colostrum will start, and it's okay that the baby is not getting anything, because they don't really need anything. They just need lots of sleep and kind of just to recover from birth. Once your colostrum comes and the first few days is over and the baby actually starts eating your colostrum and your milk finally comes in, you will feel the breast get swollen and all that, and the baby starts eating. Then I have a whole video about breastfeeding, so I don't really want to go into too much detail, but you do want to make sure that your latch, you want to work on your latch, you want to make sure the baby gets in the nipple and the whole area. You trying to make sure that the baby is actually swallowing and getting milk, and you can see them swallowing the milk, just to make sure that it's all going, you know. Also you can feel your let down when the let down starts, when your milk starts to come. Usually you can feel that as well. So those are things that I discussed in my breastfeeding video, so I don't really want to talk about that, but obviously those are things that you can expect in the first couple of days when you bring the baby home from the hospital, or even if you give birth at home. Other things that we want to talk about is you are not, if you don't breastfeed and you need formula, or you can't breastfeed for whatever reason. In my case, I just didn't have enough breast milk already by that time, because we spent 3 months breastfeeding. By the time we got home, she actually needed a lot more milk than what I was producing. With your newborn, you have that whole month of increasing your milk supply, and see if you produce enough or not, and see if you have to supplement with formula or not. You're probably gonna see that in the first month. But still, if you do have to feed formula to the baby, you have to expect lots of tummy issues. Even if you breastfeed the baby, you have to expect tummy issues in the first few days, just because they could happen. I mean, your baby was getting all her nutrients and everything through your through the blood, and not actual food. Like, her digestive system wasn't working at all, and this is the first time when the digestive systems are working. Same way that you expect the first poop to come out quite soon, once the baby was born. And so as the digestive system gets used to actually digesting food, with breast milk we had no issues, because she was already breastfeeding. She was getting breast milk for 3 months prior, before we brought her home to the hospital, from the hospital. But with the formula, I had to add formula once we brought her home, not before. In the hospital she didn't get formula at all. So for us it was new to add the formula to her diet, and she had so much issues with her tummy. It is extremely important to burp the baby a lot, and you don't necessarily realize how much you have to burp, and how often you have to burp a baby, or how much you have to try, or how long you have to try. This is something you're gonna kind of just learn as you're going through the whole first month, why you have to burp a baby often. So when they breastfeed, or when they formula feed, you have to try to burp the baby every time you kind of see that they need that. And the way that you see it is that they just they're pushing away the breast or the bottle, you know, like they just start to squirm, maybe they start to cry, maybe. But even to prevent it, it's a good idea just whenever you like switch breast, or just every few minutes, try to, maybe every 5 minutes or so, try to actually take a break and burp the baby, because that helps to prevent gassiness later on in the tummy. And if they have lots of gas in the tummy, they're gonna cry a lot. Also, they cry a lot if they have to burp. So I talked a lot about this burping and the gas issues in my previous video, the what to expect when you take your baby home from the hospital. But it is something that I'm probably gonna dedicate this whole video to, because it is one of the most important things for you to know. Anyway, so you try to burp the baby as often as you can, because it helps them to eat more. When lots of the times when the baby seems like they are full or they don't want to eat more, they actually just need to burp, and once they burped, they take more milk in. Lots of the times the baby, once they finish, or you know, they push away the breast or the bottle, and they cry, lots of the times because they have to burp, and lots of the times they're still hungry after they burp. So just burp your baby as often as you can. Also, when you burp your baby, and most of the times you just put her or him on your shoulder and try to burp them. But lots of the times that doesn't work. So lots of the times it works, and lots of the times it doesn't. I noticed that it works a lot better if the baby is actually laid down on her tummy, helping the gas to move in either direction. And also it helps a lot if you have a nursing pillow and you put it under the chest area of the baby, and then you try to burp them. I didn't do that most of the times. Most of the times I started with just on the shoulder, and if that didn't produce a burp, or if they burp and they still cry, then it's a good idea to try to burp them again by laying them down on their tummy. Maybe even put the nursing pillow under them. So lots of the times it took us like half an hour to get the burp out, and it was just the burp. So baby was just crying, and you couldn't figure out why the baby is crying, and it was just a burp. And if you don't burp the baby enough, then their tummy is gonna get gassy, and they have a hard time passing the gas in the beginning, because the digestive system is just not working really well, so you have to massage it. It's a good idea to massage the tummy a lot when they cry, and also to move the legs like in a bicycle, and those help as well. So basically when your baby cries, because in the first month you're basically gonna spend your time breastfeeding your baby or feeding your baby and changing diapers. My baby never cried because the diaper was full, but I did change it anyways, and every time she was up and breastfeeding. So she did, I was trying to prevent diaper rash, and we did have a little bit of an issue with diaper rash, but it never got so bad, so thank God that worked. They don't really cry because they are bored either. I never noticed my baby being bored, but when my baby was up, I was always interacting with the baby anyways. I mean, you're so happy that your baby is up and actually spending awake time with you that you're interacting with your baby, so I don't think my baby was ever bored because I was always there whenever she was actually up. So I think I said a lot about it already. So you try to burp your baby often. You have to try it for sometimes 10 minutes before you get the burp out. That's just how it is. If the baby just keeps crying, the baby has to burp, but that's basically, burping is one of the main issues why a baby cries in the first few months, and that's just how it is. We had a little bit of an issue with the formula causing constipation in the baby, and she was crying whenever she had to poop and she couldn't. So that was an issue that we had, but we had this issue more in the second, third month. I'm going to talk about it in more details in those videos. In this one, basically we just tried different formulas, try to figure out which one makes her less gassy and less constipated. Also, you can buy for colic all these homeopathic things that we also tried with her, and those things just help with the gassiness, and they help a lot with just gassy babies, or really like if your baby cries a lot, then they probably have a lot of digestive issues, and then it's a good idea to try those homeopathic medications. That's all I'm saying. Just to finish up this video and just to summarize everything, what I really wanted to talk about is that burping is a lot more important than most new parents realize, and that I would say in our case, basically like 60% of the time when the baby was just crying and we couldn't figure why, it was because the baby needed to burp. And this could have been half an hour after the baby just ate, like not right after that, but the burp was just still there and wasn't coming out. So lots of the times you don't put the two together, because you just fed your baby, you burped your baby, then you don't expect that half an hour later the baby is crying because they need to burp, but lots of the times they do. So I just want you to keep an open mind and try burping your baby whenever the baby is crying and you don't know why. So it's a good idea, if the baby is crying a lot and you just don't know why, to put them on their tummy, put the nursing pillow or just any pillow underneath the chest just to lift them a little bit up, and then gently patting their back. Sometimes you need to use actually not so gentle but a little bit stronger patting motions to get the burp out. Try for like 10 minutes. Take a break, massage the tummy, put them back and try to burp them again. Take a break, massage the tummy, and they're probably gonna pass either burp or gas, and the cry is gonna go away. So I just wanted to make sure that I talk all about this in this video, because in the first month your baby's gonna cry a lot just because of the tummy issues. And as I said, most of the times when you have no idea why your baby is crying, it is because of the burping. And lots of the times you just don't think about that, because you either just burped your baby or it was an hour ago when you fed your baby, and you just don't put the two and two together. But still, the baby most of the time just needs to burp or have a gassy tummy, and then try to massage it to get the gas out, and the homeopathic medicines worth a try as well. So this is part 1, and then in part 2 I'm going to talk about the sleeping and the issues or overtiredness as the other issue why a baby is most likely to cry in the first month, and the rest of the things that you can expect in the first month. Thank you and see you next time.